Okay, so you're back again for another deep dive, huh? Awesome. You're here because you're all about that growth, right? Always pushing forward, always learning. And we respect that, so we're not going to waste your time with the basics you already know.
Exactly. Today we're cutting straight to the chase, going deep on something absolutely fundamental to that growth you're all about, the power of your mindset.
We're diving headfirst into Carol Dweck's work.
Yeah, her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, to be specific.
You've probably heard the terms fixed and growth mindset before, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of everywhere these days.
Yeah.
But we've really dug deep into the source material here, to pull out the absolute gold, the stuff you can use right away.
Our mission today is to refine your understanding of these mindsets so you can see your potential in a whole new light.
And how you deal with those inevitable challenges along the way, right?
Exactly. It's like a pure shot of mindset wisdom ready to be applied to your journey, wherever you're headed.
I like that, a pure shot.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation. We've got these two totally different ways of looking at our abilities, right?
Yeah, two different lenses we use.
Let's look at the fixed mindset first, the one that can really hold us back. What defines that way of thinking?
At its core, a fixed mindset is all about believing that your talents, your intelligence, they're pretty much set. You're born with a certain amount, and that's it.
So you're either naturally gifted or you're not, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, and that belief, that starting point, leads to a bunch of other habits and ways of thinking.
Like what kind of behaviors or thought patterns do we see with that fixed mindset?
Well, the big one is avoiding challenges. Think about it. If you truly believe your abilities are limited, trying something tough, it feels dangerous.
Yeah, like you could be exposed, right? You don't want to reveal that you're not good enough.
Exactly. Then there's the whole giving up thing, right? If you hit a roadblock, it's not just a temporary setback. It's proof that you lack the ability.
It's like a confirmation of your limitations.
Right. And here's the crazy part. In a fixed mindset, putting in a ton of effort, that can even be seen as a bad thing.
Whoa, really? How so?
It's almost like admitting that you're not naturally brilliant.
It's so backwards. It really highlights the core difference, doesn't it? That effort is either a sign of weakness or a necessary part of growth. What else is typical of a fixed mindset?
People with a strong fixed mindset, they often just ignore negative feedback, even if it can be helpful.
They just brush it off.
Yeah. Or they might take it really personally. See it as a judgment of their worth instead of just information they can use to get better.
Oh, I see. It's like a personal attack instead of constructive criticism.
Right. And then lastly, they can be super threatened by other people's success.
Their success makes you feel worse about yourself.
It's like they see ability as this finite resource. So if someone else is killing it, it feels like it somehow takes away from their own potential.
So it's like a very defensive way to approach the world. And it's got to be limiting, right?
Absolutely. It's like putting a cap on your own growth.
Okay, so let's flip the script. Let's talk about the growth mindset. What's the fundamental difference there?
The growth mindset, it's a much more dynamic, a much more optimistic perspective. It's all about believing that our abilities, intelligence, those things aren't set in stone. They can be developed. They can be strengthened.
So it's like saying, hey, I might not be there yet, but I can get there with effort.
Exactly. People with this mindset see their talents and their intelligence as starting points,
Not the finish line.
Right. It's like a foundation to build on, to expand over time.
That's got to radically change the way they approach challenges, right? Like setbacks and stuff.
100%. Instead of running away from challenges, these folks, they actually seek them out.
They want to be challenged.
Yeah. They see challenges as opportunities to learn new things, to stretch their limits.
So a difficult task isn't something to avoid, it's a chance to grow.
And when they hit a snag, they don't see it as a reason to throw in the towel. It's like a puzzle to solve.
It's all about that resilience, that persistence.
And you know what? Effort, in a growth mindset, effort is like a badge of honor.
It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that you're pushing yourself.
Exactly. It's the key ingredient, the fuel for that improvement engine.
It's like, I'm putting in the work because I know it'll pay off.
That's the mindset.
Okay, so how about feedback? How do people with a growth mindset handle criticism, and how do they see other people's success?
Criticism, to them, it's like pure gold. It's valuable feedback, data points they can use to adjust their course, to learn better.
So they don't get defensive, they get curious.
In other people's success. Instead of feeling threatened by it, they often find it inspiring.
I see. It's like, hey, if they can do it, maybe I can too.
It shows them what's possible and maybe even gives them ideas they can use themselves.
Right, like learning from someone who's already achieved what you want to achieve.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these two distinct frameworks for how we approach the world, how we see our own potential.
Two different operating systems.
And you mentioned that this isn't just some theoretical idea, right? Dweck's research shows that this stuff actually affects real life in tangible ways.
Oh, yeah. This impacts everything.
So let's look at education first. How do these mindsets typically play out in a learning environment?
This is where it gets really interesting, right? Because it's all about the power of belief in yourself and in your students.
So how do students with growth mindsets approach learning?
Well, they tend to be way more engaged, way more successful. Their focus isn't just on grades, it's on really understanding the material, mastering it.
So it's a deeper level of learning.
Absolutely. They're not afraid of tough concepts because they believe they can figure it out eventually.
They don't get discouraged as easily.
Right. And get this, the teacher's mindset, it actually rubs off on their students.
So a teacher who believes in their students can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it creates a totally different atmosphere in the classroom, you know? It's more supportive, more encouraging.
It makes sense, right? If the teacher believes in you, you're more likely to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, how about in the professional world? How do these mindsets play out in business and leadership?
Well, leaders with growth mindsets, they create a very different kind of company culture.
How so?
They build environments where employees feel comfortable taking risks, trying new things.
Because it's okay to fail,
Yeah.
right? It's a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It's not about punishing mistakes. It's about learning from them.
And that fosters innovation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Plus, collaboration tends to be stronger in those environments because it's not about individual ego. It's about the team succeeding together.
So it's less competitive and more cooperative.
Right. And feedback, it's not something people dread. It's something they actively seek out because they know it helps them get better.
It's a valuable tool.
And when things go wrong, well, they don't just freak out. They analyze the situation. They try to figure out what they can learn from it.
So it's like extracting valuable data from every experience, both the good and the bad.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about something a little more personal, our relationships. How do these mindsets influence the way we connect with other people?
This is where it gets really fascinating. You know, people with fixed mindsets, they sometimes approach relationships with this idea of effortless compatibility.
Like you're either meant to be or you're not.
Yeah, like it should all be smooth sailing from the start. And when conflict inevitably pops up, they might see it as a sign that the relationship is fundamentally broken.
Oh, I see. So any bump in the road means it's not the right relationship.
Right. They might even avoid talking about the issues because they're afraid it'll just confirm that they're not compatible.
So they're not addressing those important issues that could actually help the relationship grow.
Exactly. It's like they're stuck in that initial assessment phase, you know, constantly evaluating whether it's worth it or not.
But that doesn't really allow for growth or understanding, does it?
Not really. Now, someone with a growth mindset, they see things totally differently. They understand that relationships take effort, they take communication, especially when you hit those bumps in the road.
So they're willing to work through the challenges. They see them as opportunities to grow closer.
Yeah, those conflicts, they're not seen as deal breakers. They're seen as opportunities to learn more about each other, to strengthen the bond.
So it's like they're building something together, brick by brick, rather than just hoping it magically appears perfectly formed.
I like that analogy. It's about actively constructing something strong and resilient, knowing that it'll require work along the way.
And what about parenting? How do these mindset concepts play out in how we raise the next generation?
Parenting, oh man, it's a huge influence on how kids develop their own mindsets, often in ways we don't even realize.
It's like we're shaping their beliefs about themselves.
And even the way we praise them can make a big difference. When we focus on their effort and their strategies, rather than just saying, you're so smart, it encourages that growth mindset.
So it's like, hey, I saw how hard you worked on that. That's awesome. Instead of just, you're a genius.
Exactly. It's about valuing the process, the journey, rather than just the outcome.
And the way parents themselves react to challenges, the way they talk about success and failure, that sends a powerful message too, right?
Absolutely. It's like they're modeling the mindset they want their kids to adopt.
Okay, so this isn't all just anecdotal, is it? Dweck's work is backed up by some pretty solid science.
Yeah, there's a lot of research that supports these concepts.
Can you give us a quick rundown of some of the key scientific ideas behind all this?
Sure. First up, we have brain plasticity, which is basically the brain's ability to rewire itself throughout our lives.
Right. So our brains aren't fixed. They're constantly changing and adapting.
Exactly. And this is particularly true when we're learning, when we're pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone.
So the more we learn, the more our brains change.
And that directly supports the idea that we can always get better, we can always learn new things.
It's like our brains are designed for growth.
They are. Then there's attribution theory, which is all about how we explain the reasons behind our successes and failures.
So why we think things happen the way they do.
Right. And people with a growth mindset, they tend to see outcomes as a result of things they can control, like their effort or the strategies they use.
So they're more likely to say, hey, I didn't study hard enough, instead of, I'm just bad at math.
Exactly. But someone with a fixed mindset might say, I'm just not a math person, which makes them less likely to even try.
So it affects their motivation, their willingness to keep going.
Absolutely. And speaking of motivation, research shows that intrinsic motivation, that inner drive to learn and grow, it leads to much deeper engagement than just relying on external rewards.
So it's not about getting a gold star, it's about the satisfaction of learning something new.
Exactly. And lastly, there's this concept called stereotype threat, which is fascinating.
What's that?
It's this idea that holding a fixed mindset can actually make you more vulnerable to the negative effects of stereotypes.
Like, if you believe the stereotype that girls are bad at math, and you're a girl, you might actually perform worse in math.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It reinforces those limiting beliefs.
So all this research really paints a clear picture of how our mindsets shape our experiences, our behaviors, our outcomes.
Powerful stuff.
Okay, so for our listeners out there who are already on a growth journey, what are the key takeaways here? What are the practical things they can start doing right now?
The good news is, even if you have some fixed mindset tendencies, and most of us do, you can shift towards a growth mindset. It takes effort, but it's absolutely possible.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about recognizing those fixed mindset patterns and consciously choosing to think differently.
One of the biggest things is shifting your focus from the outcome to the process.
Yeah.
Celebrate the effort you put in, the strategies you try, the progress you make along the way, even if you don't achieve the perfect result right away.
It's like enjoying the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And reframe your definition of failure. Instead of seeing it as a personal flaw, see it as a temporary setback.
Like, I haven't mastered this yet, but I'm working on it.
That yet is so powerful. It changes the whole perspective.
Yeah, it's like opening a door to future possibilities.
And pay attention to the language you use, both internally and when talking to others. Ask, what did you learn? Instead of, did you succeed? Focus on growth and understanding.
Don't be afraid to embrace challenges. In fact, seek them out. They're opportunities to learn and grow.
Absolutely. And when you inevitably face setbacks, use them constructively. Ask yourself what you can learn from the experience and how you can adjust your approach going forward.
Reframe your view of effort. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of commitment, a path to mastery.
And don't shy away from criticism. Use it as a tool for improvement, a way to gain valuable insights.
And when you see someone else succeeding, don't feel threatened, feel inspired. Learn from their example, see what's possible.
All of this takes practice. It's not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong journey.
So Dweck actually outlines some concrete steps you can take. First, become aware of your fixed mindset triggers. Notice what situations or challenges tend to bring out those negative limiting thoughts.
Then, name your fixed mindset voice. What are those specific thoughts that pop up? Just acknowledging them can help you start to challenge their validity.
And actively respond to those fixed mindset thoughts with a growth mindset perspective. For example, instead of, I'm terrible at this, try, I'm still learning, I'll get better with practice.
Then take action aligned with a growth mindset. Sign up for that challenging course. Ask for feedback. Push through that difficult task.
And surround yourself with a growth mindset environment. Connect with people who value learning and growth, who support your efforts.
It's all about building that positive, encouraging ecosystem around you.
So the key takeaway here is this. You have the power to change your mindset.
Your beliefs about your abilities are not set in stone. You can cultivate them, you can develop them.
And by embracing a growth mindset, you can unlock your potential, achieve greater things, and navigate life's challenges with more resilience, optimism, and joy.
So here's a final thought for you to ponder as you go about your day. What's one area of your life where you might be operating with a fixed mindset? What's one small action you could take today to shift towards a growth mindset in that area? Remember the power of yet How can you apply that to your current situation?
And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.